Good afternoon. Happy Saturday, everyone. Guess who's back? Today is the first day I'm eligible. Thank you so much, YouTube, for allowing me to come back. Even though I'm still not really sure what I did, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that there. I'm not going to try to push up on that or anything like that. Just kind of curious. Much love, guys. I hope you guys have had a great week. I hope your growing season is going great. Much love to the people up in here. What up, Nebs? Good to see you. Apex Stoner, failure in the house. Much love, my man. Stealth Grower, cheers. The one, the only, a Goliath Grow. And if you don't know, now you know. It's a place where you go when it's time to get elevated. Dr. Weedman is in the house. Cheers, homie. We got the man, the myth, the legend, James Garcia. Cheers, man. Happy Saturday. Today we are going to have our good friend Beautiful Existence on air. We wanted to do this last week. It didn't work out, obviously, because we got a strike. Ended up getting a strike on Friday. So basically on Saturday. So I got the strike on Friday. So basically, 7 days later, which is today, they're allowing me to come back. And I appreciate that shit. Good afternoon, Papa Hambo. And like I said, I just really wish you guys would be a little bit more, not you guys, obviously. I just wish you'd be like, yo, this is where you did it. Give me a time frame in a 2-hour video. If you're trying to make me go back and watch it over and over and over again to figure out when I broke the community guidelines, could be helping, just help people get better, help protect the content on YouTube. Just throwing that out there into the universe. Maybe something like that can happen in the future. Papa Hambone, good to see you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Some cookies in there for James Garcia. Ooh, that's love. Absolutely. So like I said, we start a little bit early. I wanted to. I set it up for, we want to set that up for 420. I was also very curious if it was going to work or not. We have last week's recorded, but we did have a little bit of a connectivity issue. Hopefully today will be better. I'm believing it will be. Spoke to her this morning and yeah. So yeah. But what are you guys growing on? Like, what's up? How's the grows going? How's everyone doing? Everyone's staying on a nice positive path. Coming out, coming out in the world that we are in today. Really scary. It can be, but you don't need to be scared. Stay positive. Stay looking forward. Be prepared for your own life. And that's really what we need to do. Have you been cruises were able to smoke on there? I don't believe cruises you're able to smoke on. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they don't want you to bring your own alcohol or your own anything else. So I'd imagine they're going to, have something. But I know a lot of people bring vape pens or edibles. So that is an option, possibly. And when you get to port, figure out where you're porting ahead of time. Find that community. Get yourself a nice hookup. I'm guessing if you're going down the Caribbean, we have things like Instagram and stuff like that. So, I don't know how they deal with it on international waters, but if it is something that you need, then obviously prepare yourself when you get there. Like I said, cannabis is medicine. If you are a medical cannabis patient, I believe you probably should be able to. You could always pull some kind of, HDA type of thing where, hey, you're against, people that use this medication. Not always the best idea, but hey, it might work. You never know. So hell yeah. Well, guess what, guys? We have a visitor in here today. She came a little bit early too. getting prepped for that 420 time zone. So I totally forgot to hook my cord back in. So I give you 1 second. I got caught on my foot and my whole computer went down and I kicked it out and I just didn't do it. So. See, it's a long cord. That's why I got hooked on my foot. What up, Looney Productions? What up, Satan is your daddy? What is up, man? Good to see you. I'm just trying to get this set up so we can get wonderful, beautiful existence in here. Oh, man. This IT guy's the worst. Yep. Okay. All right. What up, Henny? Good to see you. Let's give a nice warm welcome for beautiful existence. How are you today? Look, we're inside and everything, huh?
Hello, hello. Yes, it is a rainy day, a very Seattle day out, and thankfully it's clearing and helping clear a lot of the air.
Yeah.
So all of those, wishes and intentions and prayers for clearing on the West Coast has definitely been coming through, and you can feel it for the last couple of days. Yeah. And I did an IG live earlier to kind of set out some of this energy because I've been sitting in it now for days. So I'm ready to go to town with people and expand their awareness through what plant spirit has shown me.
Well, absolutely, guys. Who wants to get some awareness on what plant spirit has coming forward for all of us? Obviously, the first half, well, actually, almost the first 3 quarters of 2020 is what it is. We can't worry about that. We need to move forward. One of my favorite people on the planet to help me move forward is her. So I'm so happy that we are going to actually get this done. And it looks like we're actually sitting pretty well on the live. So cheers. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you. Where are we going to start off?
Okay, so I think that it's important to at least let people know about last week's episode and the information that first came in. And I guess beginning with what you just said, the initial part of 2020 is what it is, but we're now in the thick of it astrologically. And astrology is just one of the wisdoms that I have mastered in past lifetimes and that I have been in a process of recalling, and that plant spirit has been amplifying for me in this lifetime because she is in her ethereal form and her physical, form, I guess you would say in all of her design, is completely tapped into source energy and wisdom and understanding and truth. So understanding past the physical realm, which is what I've now been in the emergence and amplification of, along with her support and help for the last over 5 years, has gotten me to this point of not only being able to utilize my medium skills and abilities to channel information and visions and connect to others like I've done with you, John, and numerous of other people individually and as a business oracle now within a business sense, because prior to me becoming a cannabis plant spirit keeper and cannabis medium, I have been in tech predominantly. I have been in tech in one way, shape, or form. I've co-owned internet companies and media online companies, been marketing director and media director for numerous companies, been a consultant for over a decade to government institutions and academic institutions and small business and Fortune 500 companies. So I have a wide plethora of information behind me, both in past life and current, form and experience. Yeah. And it really has aligned me. This 2020 is astrologically just minimally ending a ton of cycles of planetary energies and starting new ones. in preparation for just overall, there's so many different aspects to this, but in preparation for a massive shift that has been slowly being ushered in for years, for the last especially 12 years in the Jupiter cycle, which I'll get into in a little bit. But leading up to the clearing out of past karmas, attachments, relationships, anything that was not serving people's higher self, as much as that individual soul could rid themselves, transition through, transmute. And Plant Spirit has been raising for a couple of decades to be able to help millions more people do that, whether they're conscious of it or not. I've just been called and have the ability to keep continually putting it out there now through my own evolution with her, to help people become aware of not only how to recognize her voice and her ethereal spirit within you to connect your higher self and abilities to your true potential and who you are on this plane, through her bridge, but also to then help amplify you with different wisdoms and guides and past knowledges that you've had. So all of this has been leading this year into these pinnacle points of these cyclical transitions astrologically, because the planetary energies are much larger energies that affect us on this plane. Whether you want to recognize it or not, they are a mapping and a pattern within the design of the solar system that is a collective consciousness that we're in. It is not just a collective consciousness on this plane of humanity, but we are in a collective consciousness of everything that is on this plane, and including those within our solar system, and more than likely our binary star system as well. So with that,
well,
as a precursor, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was going to say. And understanding that going forward, when you have those days where you're, I don't know what's wrong. Like, you know, where you're kind of feel like inside you're shaking for absolutely no reason. A lot of this is what we're saying, what you are saying, absolutely. And what I try to say a lot is this energy, because that's the way that I see everything. I see humans as energy. I see gods as energy. I see planets as energy. Some are just more massive, dense balls of energy. But at the end of the day, you know, we need all those energies. So understanding which energies are just wailing on you at certain points and why is extremely important. And it can, you know, kind of lead to sitting there going, okay, yeah, well, I do have these important things coming forward. Maybe I need to rethink this. Maybe I need to, you know, open my thought process up. And this is why, you know, connecting to Plant Spirit, and we're all cannabis fans here. You know, you know,
she's
fans,
amazing.
patience, like, you know what I mean? Like, so this is a way that one of your, you know, when people look at like, oh yeah, I love this actress or whatever, you know, I always tweet at them. Yo, this is the cannabis plant reaching out to you. This is the plant goddess reaching out to you, being very appreciative for everything that you're doing to help move us forward. And when you're in those situations, what I've found, when I'm in those situations where it feels like all the energy is just trying to rip me apart, I kind of focus in on the plant spirit and Mother Nature and things like that. And I let her bring me back together. And I think that's one of the best things that us as growers, we have in our back pocket.
Yeah, you do.
You
because
know,
she's amazing to be able to work with in person. She is such a gratitude energy in person that, you know, she heals on all forms. She equals out and balances on all forms, including ethereally. So you're exactly right. Tesla was right. There's a reason why it's a meme. It's a truth, and millions of people resonate with it. If you want to understand the universe, think of terms of energy and frequency. And that's what she's directly tapped into, especially when you access her spiritual medicine form. So with that being said, energy has different designs within it. The only reason that our souls, which are an energetic eternal form, can be on this dimension is because there's designs that have made the planetary energies, this planet, everything on the planet, even down to our minute karmas individual, minute by minute decisions. These are all the collective consciousness unfolding in this energetic pattern. But there are designs within it that sometimes need to be restructured, and they're going to be destroyed and rebuilt and restructured from above, so below. And so these planetary energies, the two big ones in our collective conscious solar system are Jupiter, the planet of abundance and amplification, and Saturn, the planet of rules, restrictions, karma, and lessons. And one, Jupiter, is known as this beneficent energy, so positive, and Saturn is known as the major maleficent or negative energy. Always everything has this duality and balance in it, because the pinnacle of creation is the pressure point and the expansion and vastness within the duality of everything. Okay, so when I say negative and positive, know that Saturn, the taskmaster, only does these things to teach you and guide you through these lessons that you might have to learn the hard way because you're not making those decisions on your own. Or Jupiter expands you, but can expand you in these different ways. But in general, these two planets and the entirety of our consciousness in a very large interplanetary design and pattern and energy has been in Earth signs for 700 years, 250 years. Jupiter and Saturn have been in a planetary alignment of Earth signs. That is shifting into an air sign in December. And we've been in a process of that emerging slowly through the ending of the Earth signs and this recalibration of this Jupiter and Saturn. We're also in a lot of other of these ending cycles and beginning cycles, but this one is really important because this is not just the recalibration of Earth tangible, mining all of the resources, farming all the food, Earth tangibility for the last minimally 250 years, now moving into air, which is vastness and flow and super quick and technology and innovation and communication. So it's really different energy. But then it is also beginning the official ushering in of Aquarius energy. And we've been in Pisces for over a couple of thousand years. Now, Pisces energy is this, to put it in layman's terms, the humanity's inability to govern and control themselves, for foreign outside energies to govern the masses and educate and establish the masses. Aquarius energy is completely different. Now, they do have certain planetary energy rulers that are similar, because in ancient times Aquarius still had Saturn, so it still has this taskmaster to it, but it also has Uranus, which is very spontaneous in it too. So Aquarian energy, to not only just move into air, but then to move officially from Pisces to Aquarius energy, is one of the main core reasons for what I've channeled this last week. My personal astrology chart opened up, and the alignments in it. I'm in my Jupiter heliacal year, which is very, very sacred. And Jupiter is a key player in all of this. And Jupiter is in a cycle right now, which I will explain in a minute. And so certain aspects of my physical being and the design of it within my astrology have opened up even further this last week with the Virgo new moon, which was in a trine to Capricorn and Saturn. And I received a massive download. So last week when I talked to you, one of the first downloads that started coming through is that this October we have, and I've known for years, but it's really been amplifying this month. Astrologically speaking, October is the pivot point, the height, the crescendo, the pinnacle of this energy this year. This closing out of old cycles and this beginning of new cycles. It is in October. And point being, October is bookended by 2 full moons. That is the moons a full illumination of the sun's energy on our plane. The first full moon on the 1st of October is the harvest moon, and it's the initiation of this pinnacle of energy that is coming in astrologically this year. And the October 31st moon is the largest unveiling of the dimensions and veils that we will ever see in this lifetime. And that has happened in multiple lifetimes because these energies are being ushered into this plane to be able to help us shift into this air and Aquarius age. Now, with that as a caveat, okay, October 31st, remember this, because this information that I received and channeled from plant
We got
spirit,
a full moon Halloween.
yeah, it's a full blood blue moon Halloween.
Holy shit.
It's a dual moon that is a secondary bookend to October, which is the pinnacle of this year's astrological energy. That's how fucking intense this October 31st is in the first
We're
place.
going somewhere.
But let me get into what it is that I've channeled, because this is incredibly important, and plant spirit works through me amongst other guides and knowledges, so that, you know, the community that communes with her can receive the information not only to align ourselves with her and to do good work on this plane alongside with her, alongside with what it is that she has been here waiting, you know, patiently to be able to transmute and change on our plane along with us. But so that the people that work with her on this plane are privy to the information that the people that are already in power, the corporation masters, the government masters, the people that know this stuff because they have their own oracles, they have their own astrologers, kings and queens have had their own fucking guides and oracles for thousands, tens of thousands of years. There are company owners and celebrities that have their own shamans and have this whole time, whether the public is aware of it or not. So they have been aligning their energy, their development, their designs with what is already in place and what is about to be amplified like a motherfucker on this plane through Aquarian energy.
And we also have Mars and basically retrograde right now too.
That's society. That's society and the individual not taking any more of this Capricorn shit, because we're at the end of this Capricorn cycle. So people are like, fuck these rules and restrictions. I'm done with this shit. But the reality is that it's here, because Aquarius also means that, and with Saturn being the ancient, you know, ruler of it, that it has this structure within it. Aquarius is this duality too. You can either be extremely structured and completely lose placement of the altruistic humanitarian aspect of things, or you can go to the higher energy levels of Aquarius and be one of an individual of all. And your responsibilities and your Saturn responsibilities are in the pattern of helping all. So with all of this said, I'm going to give you the crux of what the new design is. The new design, and knowing this as a core truth, because I have been in Seattle in technology for over 2 decades in this lifetime, actually all over this country. And I literally have been being paid to watch for patterns, both within the 3D known business realm and now externally, to coincide these two, so that I am giving people, my clients, the individuals that come and seek me out, the same information that the people that are in power and that have money have now known and been designing and leveraging themselves against, so that you have the power and ability to know what they know, because plant spirit speaks to me and on behalf of the collective that works with her and loves her. So blockchain, that's the design. And that is the fucking skeleton for everything that is going to be amplified in Aquarius, because it is of complete Aquarian quality. It will actually amplify and mutate itself past human intervention and development and ownership eventually, which is in a
So like
couple of
blockchain AI.
generations.
So like blockchain AI.
The design of the text structure and the integration of it, which has already been happening, is absolutely where you need to sit, watch, look for, get involved, where all financial institutions are going to this is the core. This is bigger than the internet. This is the core of everything within Aquarius design. And it is about to get amplified like we have never seen on this plane before. You think tech has grown quick? Take 30 years of internet and condense them into 3 years. That's Aquarius. And that is being ushered in and has been for years now. And it is about to go fucking stellar. It is going to eliminate entire industries, jobs, millions of people's livelihoods, everything. It is that pivotal. Financial structures, government structures, social structures, everything is on this design. Everything. Because it is of a core Aquarian, high energetic value and intention. Because it's altruistic in nature. Blockchain is not owned by anybody. Right now, it is because of the developers and the people that have the limited capacity to be able to design and development. But that will not remain. Not when human technology integration is fully amplified through it. This will be the human tech integration. And not everybody is going to follow this at first. This is an evolutionary curve that has been shown to me. And I have been placed right back in the thick of it, even though I transitioned onto the East Coast for the last 3 years. I've transitioned and been jettisoned this year immediately back into the thick of it because I have this placement again to be able to amplify it and help people within this community that I love so dearly through Plant Spirit and every iteration, I guess, that it is that I'm called to, be a part of this. But it is really deep. And this is how she showed me this last week first, that this is synchronicitous and you have to look at these wisdoms like astrology to be able to see this big picture of what's going on. Because it is multi-decade long, it is multi-generation long to be able to see these patterns like I've been trained to do and know what it is that we need to be focused on and in integrating in this current time period to be ahead of the curve of the future that's already coming down the pike. Bitcoin white paper was released on October 31st, 2008. Boom! This is the Jupiter fucking cycle. That was the end of Jupiter in Capricorn in 2008. We all know what that was. This design, this manifestation, this awareness of blockchain came in through the veils on October 31st of 2008 at the end of the Capricorn cycle of Jupiter 12 years ago.
Wow.
The alignment is there, people. You just have to know and see or know people that can help you understand it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do actually own some companies that basically run everything off blockchain. And that's one of the reasons, because it leaves a clear, concise ability for investors, for the owner, for the client, the Bitcoin, blockchain is absolutely, and I actually have a blockchain network that I am working on my phone that basically I'm just building up what's called Pi.
Yep.
So it's a blockchain network where you just go ahead and mine all day and things like that, because honestly, the future is coming. I did not think that this was going to be a business one, which I'm absolutely fine with. The one thing that people need to realize is that I've taken a very business switch towards my channel. I think a lot of people have noticed that. When we first started the channel, we were doing a lot of crypto reports and things like that to sit there and, push forward, the understanding that, hey, I even think back then I said 5 years, and I think that was being a little hopeful. But obviously
Well,
2020.
within 5 years,
Yeah,
it's
within
all
5 years.
been coming about. And these
Yeah,
other
and
companies within it have been expanding, and the big players have been getting into it.
yeah, but see, and the funny thing is like that's not how we met.
No, it's planned.
That's not how we met at all. Like there was
Seriously.
it wasn't even anything. There was no fucking conversation, anything. This is when I never even had the thought processes out off of paper. There's only one person that ever heard me talk about a network at that point in my life, and that was B Cloud. I met her at was at the Freedom Rally.
Yep.
And literally,
Greentown.
Yep, the Beantown Greentown 10, the Freedom Rally 2 years ago, and 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was maybe 2 years ago. They didn't have it this year, but anyway, she walked by me, and like I had walked up because I hide when big crowds. I hide, so I didn't know where anyone was. So I was like, oh, there's Beantown Greentown. So like I'll go from one hiding spot to another. And I just kind of, and then when I got over there, I walked up and we just kind of looked at each other and she was like, oh, you're the one that connects everyone. And then she just walked away. Just walked away.
This
just
is my life.
Just like
tapped in channel.
The fuck?
Seriously.
She never left my head. And I was like, what did Beth tell her? And I was just like, so then I'm like a year of inquisiting Beth, like, hey, I'm just curious, because it kept coming back in my head over and over and over. So that's just kind of the funny way that we kind of met. And then reaching out to her, and I was like, hey, do you remember? And she was like, yep, I absolutely do. And then from there, we've come to this point. So, the plant spirit is definitely guiding people at this point, to become like, look, man, these guys have kept you down. You need to take some of that because we got a long haul coming up, and we need you to be in the right place so we can get what we came here to do. Yeah. And what everyone came here to do is to raise the frequency. Let us go ahead and evolve as a human species, and if you believe, like I do, like I say, the energies, it's just recycling energy. So when I look at reincarnation, I look at it as recycling energy. My energy agreed to fix this shit, or not fix it, grow it. Because I don't think you can take something on a non-linear, like something that's millions of years old, and say, oh, we're going to fix it. No. Let's help it. Let's help that energy that be the best that it can possibly be, and then see what happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of the way where my belief structure is, and that's where and when I say energy, everything to me is an energy. A frequency is a high energy. We want to raise those vibes way up, so we can get
frequencies too. I mean, we've been operating on lower frequencies with our media and with many things on this plane for a long time. And low frequencies are the things that are the disruptors of technology. When you have glitches, when you have, upsets, when you have AI bots that are targeting you and taking you down, those are lower level frequencies that are operating in this collective. I had a ton of it happening this morning, and I was just like, that's not going to happen one way or another. I'm getting this information out to the people because this was given. So I've had snippets of this for years. I've had these breadcrumbs being given to me of this overall vision, and it's even more expanded than that, even though I've only been aware fully of this this design and this pattern and this future, that's already transpiring for a couple of days. I've already had more depth of this vision given to me, and I can go into that in a minute. But I've had breadcrumbs being given to me when I was on the East Coast, and especially in Miami. I was surrounded by 4X and by the one version of blockchain design within the financial markets. Now, I, knowing astrology, knew that this was already aligned as soon as I came into its awareness, because it was, we moved in 2018 into Uranus and Taurus. Now, Uranus and Taurus is an almost 80-year cycle. And the last time that it was disrupting Uranus, the great disruptor, spontaneous disruption in Taurus, which has to do with luxuries, tangible qualities on earth, like gems, minerals, money, big time. So the last time we had this transition of Uranus and Taurus, it had a huge financial impact, and all of these designs were structured around it, like the New Deal and all of this stuff, because it was right after this market crash in America. So I knew that 4X and this blockchain financial aspect of patterning was true, and I've had it surrounding me with people for the last couple of years. But I just had opened up, like my entire design opened up to be able to receive, and I was in the proper alignment this week to be able to get and channel the information. This vision, this awareness came directly from source. I didn't seek it out. I was given the precursor last week to the October 31st intensity, and then I was given all of it and the synchronicity with this, including this, which secured it. I've known about Aquarius and the shift. I'm an air sign, like, 12 times air sign in both tropical and ancient astrology. So my alignment was ready and prepared to be able to receive this and communicate it out. This is incredibly important. This is the skeleton of the entirety of design that is going to redesign our concept of social order, our individual lives, and how they operate. This is, and it's not going to fully roll out, just like a full Aquarian energy is not going to fully take place until we get out of the Dodecamora of Mars. And that is a very patriarchal, warring type energy in one form. So there's going to be a stronghold for people to try and still maintain their power and control, especially those that are of the power and control and design of the blockchain right now. But eventually, this design's entire iteration of the equality within it will even surpass their ability to maintain the control of it. So
are you talking about like low frequencies, like keeping that shit down? Like
well,
those frequencies
it's
are
the
going
old
away.
patterns. It's the old patterns. It's the patriarchy. It's the more predominantly, I'm just going to say it, male energy. There has to be this divine feminine balance with everything, which is another reason why plant spirit has been raising up, because she brings a balance of divine feminine. And the people that I connect with the best in the industry are males that have integrated this female energy, because I'm, as a gay woman, already been integrating male energy into my feminine form. I have already been balancing out before even plant spirit started working with me because of my gay identity. So the men that specifically grow and work with plant spirit have been even unconsciously bringing in divine feminine energy into their masculine form. And this is a balance that will eventually absolutely be on this plane when Aquarius in 170 years is fully realized. So it's going to take another couple of generations, but the technorati that own the development and the education of the blockchain design right now will be these last outliers of what is a government and overseeing control Pisces. What we have been in for a couple thousand years, 2150 years. What is actually shifting now into Aquarius? It is not the people that need to have something else over them, a religion, a god, a government, a structure telling them what to do, how to live, what to think, and how to be. That's Pisces. That's what we're shifting out of. Aquarius is the individual being self-regulated guru of their own nature, of their own understanding of their divine sovereignty, and being the responsibility of the altruistic humanitarian of all. That is the highest energy. And this technology is the absolute fucking skeleton design of that.
So everything can just fill out the body.
Yep.
So it's an absolute new economic structure.
It's a design of everything on this plane. It is a master redesign. That's why I'm trying to get people to we'll be talking about this for a while, my friends, because Aquarius energy is now just starting to fully build into the shift. That's why these energies are going to be so fucking intense in October, especially because it's the last ditch efforts of this major old control pattern of the people and the power, of the establishment and the powers over the people, when this Aquarian energy is the collective benefit of all peoples by individual responsibility of the one.
And the one in being themselves?
Yeah. Every single human's divine sovereignty of soul.
Absolutely. The one thing that we talk about. Freedom is within everyone. You are free. You allow people to tell you you're not.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying anything against anything government, because maybe that's what I got busted for last time. And I just don't really want to go through that again.
They're not going to like me putting this information out there, because they already know blockchain is the destruction of their control right now.
When you say stuff like that, I want to get so greedy and go, hey, am I in the right one? It's like, but I mean, I don't really share what I trade. I mean, sometimes I do, certain things I just talk about because it just comes up. And
it's going to fluctuate a lot. It's at the beginning of this evolutionary curve.
Okay.
It's going to fluctuate a lot. But it's also coinciding with the redesign of America and what America looks like, and its 250-year Pluto return, which officially kicks off next spring. There's so many designs within this redesign. When I say blockchain, I literally want people to understand this is a major redesign on the entirety of the Earth plane for everything. That's how intense this design is. People think it's just tech. No, it's the fucking skeleton of the structure of everything that is going into Aquarius.
I believe tech is supposed to be our infrastructure at a certain point. I've always believed that. And that's why I've always tried to push it forward. I think on obviously a different wavelength. When I look at something, I break it apart. And I take it bit by bit by bit, and I go, okay, cool. This is how everything is built. I just have a weird mind that for me to truly understand something, I break it apart. And this is one of the things that I did with crypto, and this is one of the things that I did with blockchain. One of the main reasons why I've always been saying, you need to get into this, not just because of an AI aspect, not just because of a financial aspect, but once these two start to make any kind of movement, it's going to change the way people think and the way humans have to live. Yes. Or not, they don't have to live like that anymore. And we shouldn't have been living like that since at least 1972, when they created 90% of the technology that we will be inputting into our society.
But we had to go through it because we had to finish out this Pisces cycle. We had to see the transparency and the lesson in Pisces, which is an establishment or an order or something that was over us, dictating to us how to live, how to be, what to think. We had to go through that lesson fully. This is the planetary element saying, no, for 2,100 years plus, you are going to learn this lesson on that plane collectively and go through it collectively and consciously. Each individual life, each moment that you have free will choice, collectively be evolving this particular design on a solar system, cosmic consciousness level. And now we're entering into Aquarius. So let's deep dive even a little bit more here, because Plant Spirit showed me last night exactly another level of what this is, and why I say 1 to 2 generations. In the first place, astrologically, we're at the ending of the Pisces cycle. Yes, we're entering into Aquarius. Yes, we're actually making the shift because we're moving out of this Jupiter Saturn in Earth sign into air sign, which is Aquarius. massive, like, redirection. But the
Okay,
Dada
so I have a
Kamara,
question for,
yeah.
does this, I mean, I understand the Aquarius, I understand it, but I was under the impression that we were almost 250 to 300 years away.
We're almost a couple hundred years away, and that's what I was going to say.
Okay.
In ancient astrology,
I just wanted
every
to put
single
people in
sign.
that perspective. So sometimes people hear that and they're like, "Oh, next week we're in fucking Aquarius."
No.
It's
This is
not.
a
Yeah.
process. This is an
No, I
unfolding.
understand.
Our
Okay.
sense of time is not relevant to the way that the
No.
universe actually works. But there is a mapping of these designs, like through astrology, that we can kind of get a better perspective, because our human brains are still only at a point in this iteration at this moment of being able to take in so much information. Well, we do have mappings of the designs that we live in that actually are able to keep our souls, a pure energy source that's eternal, in this 3D, 4, 5D now dimension, through these designs. Well, this design of astrology can help you be able to see and gain this perspective of a larger picture outside of just your lifetime, right?
Yeah.
So we are in an ancient astrology. Every single sign that has a couple thousand year, and some of them are more and less, kind of rotation, that the earth has a rotation through, that we've been in Pisces for a couple thousand years. Each one of those signs has the breakout of all of the 12 signs within it. They're called the Dakamoras. And we are in the last bit of Pisces, even though Aquarius is being ushered in. Consider this the gradient time. This is the ushering in of the air energy and the Aquarian energy, but it's also the closing out of the earth and the Piscean energy. And that doesn't happen for up to 170 to 200 years, because we're finishing out the last signs of the Dada Kamara of Pisces.
So we're basically in transition phase, the long transition phase.
But we're the seeds.
Like that a grower would.
The seeds of what is going to transpire.
That's why we need to get our ass moving.
We do, because it's going to move really fucking fast. When I said 3 decades of Earth, innovation and growth compiled into 3 years, I'm not fucking kidding. When we turn this on in December, when this starts to shift, all of these companies, all of these developers, all this technorati that has already, all of the investors, all of these people that have power right now, and the understanding and the knowledge behind them, to know or be told or see, however shape or form, plant spirit, advisor, financial advisor, whatever it is, if you are getting on this and you can see the major design and pattern within the blockchain intention, and just being in this world, it's its own being, it's its own design, it's its own energy form, it's its own living iteration of something that we're just all going to be influenced and a part of eventually. And when I say a part of, I am literally telling you a part of. The people that develop it right now, and the further deep dive into this awareness that I was given just even last night, is that our human structures integrating technology, which we've been doing now for a couple of decades with like wearable tech and all of this stuff that isn't regulated, by the way, and that is part of the problem within it that needs to be resolved and will be resolved. But the integration of human and tech is going to be us taking and having the structure of the blockchain within our actual beings.
Fucking
And
Elon Musk.
That will take it completely out of the hands of even the people that own it and develop it right now. But this
Imagine what the human brain could do. Imagine what the human brain could do with a blockchain system actually helping it. Imagine what your body would be able to do.
Yeah.
You'd be able to live longer.
That's what
you'd be able to walk if you couldn't be able to walk. You'd be able to reroute the curves.
We're going to be able to communicate in clarability. Yeah. We're going to be able to do all the things that I keep telling people as my living example, and what I will continue to hold space for and put myself out there for through her spirit, and now through other wisdoms and guides and spirits. all of the abilities that we have, technology will expand us back into those awarenesses. This is a cycle. We already had this in human species history hundreds of thousands of years ago. We were already in this form, but we weren't of such an integrated nature on this plane. There's so many like mystics and channels and guides that have said this in different iterations throughout the ages. We have existed for millions of years as a species. We will continue to exist in different iterations as a species, as an evolution of, this is just this one moment. But in the past, we have had the ability to communicate through all of our clairsensory. This is the altruistic nature of Aquarius again, to be able to communicate without speaking words to each other, to be able to know what each other feels and be able to react and be responsible to ourselves and each other through these extrasensory abilities. Technology is absolutely going to be doing that in integration to our physical bodies. This is all part of the evolutionary chain and design. Wow. And this is another synchronicity. So Aquarius, there's different parts of the wisdom of astrology, right? And Aquarius is this energetic, what they call a ray 2, okay? And there's all of these different rays, and it's another design within the astrology design to be able to bring in, and it helps you further expand your perspective on this mapping, if you will, of how to be able to see things, that are happening or that have happened or that, are more than likely going to show up or could happen, The ray 2 is known for the development of individual consciousness into the world's consciousness. This is the Aquarian human, human altruistic, value system. This is the high level energy frequency of Aquarian. And they literally say that humans on ray 2, this is a definition that you will see when you Google and research and start to look into the different energetic ray qualities of the signs. They literally say that you are a human server to humanity. A fucking server, like a computer server to humanity.
Wow.
This is so evident when you start like sitting with intuition and really looking around and capturing what you've mastered and opening up to the collective through plant spirit to be able to receive, to not question the voices that are coming through to you from the plants anymore, but to literally see and observe and validate through your own, experience, because the synchronicities will absolutely start showing themselves that you are on this path of where your soul's iteration is supposed to go and what she's going to support and what she's going to amplify with you.
That's fucking awesome.
I know that this is a real, but I got aliens behind me. I got
that's what I was gonna say. Like, yo,
yes.
Here's one of the things that like people need to understand.
Aliens.
They're coming
up as shit. No, they're already here. Like,
well, I know that they're already here.
Have already been finally admitting this shit this year. And all of us that watch astrology and the ones of us that have been connected to ethereal guidance or awareness, we've known this. We've done this the whole fucking time. This is truth to us. As soon as it comes out, we're like, yeah, whatever.
Do I still have my little reptilian buddy? I'm just curious. I actually was just like, the other day I was thinking about that and I was like, I am just kind of curious if he's still here. What do you want me? What are we doing? Like,
so the reptilians are different. Yeah,
I don't look at them in
just a different iteration. I have a lot more behind that because I actually had serpent energy come to me a couple years ago as a totem guide, and it really cleared out and it came into my life for a brief period during a Scorpio cycle to clear out some really, deep level karmas that I had still had within my physical DNA design and such. So serpent energy, and the reason for the poison and the fangs, and the defensiveness of serpent energy on this plane is because the reptilian race was actually almost going extinct millions of years ago. Tens of millions, hundreds of millions of years ago. And it came to Earth and it stole the serpent's sacred energy from it to assist its race to continue on. And so it started taking on that form. And that changed the energetic form of serpent energy, which is one of the oldest animal wisdoms on this plane that we have. It's incredibly significant. It is the infinite symbol. It is the birth and rebirth generation cycle. It had its sacred elements stolen from it so that that species could continue on. And so the one form of the species, integrated it fully, but it also brought on the serpent death and destruction qualities of it, which you have to be able to mitigate against with that guide and energy. But and the serpent energy on this plane actually, had the birth of the defensiveness mechanisms to it. It was not in that form before. It was a pure source design. So that's something that still has to be rectified, but that's a millions and millions of year long pattern between those two. And so there is this aggression and animosity on this plane between those energies in the universe. So
that's going to be fun.
Serpent energy is super fucking sacred, man. It is the beginning of dragon. It is the egg. It is the circle. It's the fucking truth design. It is a core design on this plane.
Yeah.
So
I have non-venomous snakes around me like all the time. Like I see them constantly.
Yeah, they have different forms. Yeah, but the predominant forms of the defensiveness mechanism that came into its physical being were to balance out this. Yeah, because just think of yourself as this eternal godlike design and quality of pure source on a plane, and you literally had your sacred element taken away from you so that another species could live, but it also birthed something different inside of you and inside of them. So they're on their own cycle, but that is this tie on our plane to the reptilians. There's a lot more behind it, but that's what I was given by serpent energy, and it's very sacred. Like I am so entirely grateful for that totem to be coming in. And animal totems are definitely something that is raising up, and that plant spirit has been connecting me to now. The wisdoms that I had in past lives, especially as a Native American shaman, and the animal spirits on this plane are raising, just like plant spirit has been raising, the animal spirits have been raising, because they're all collectively getting awakened to merge again with us, because that's Aquarian. And the crux of it, and what you were saying, and then the business sense, is it's tech. Yeah. It is technology. That is one of the main, and the blockchain is the skeleton. You're talking about breaking down and compartmentalizing this data from this really big picture vision, which is what I've been giving, and I understand that. Think of the blockchain as the spine of everything, and everything expands from there.
What people need to realize about blockchain, what blockchain is basically data. Okay, so it doesn't have to just be financial. It doesn't have to just be, it can be educational. It can be every single aspect of your life can be connected
every aspect, and that's design.
like that's the whole thing. And when you're looking at something with what Elon Musk is doing with the whole implantation of the chip, not the chip, but it's actually just a wire. It's a superconductive wire. I didn't know a little bit about it.
Human servers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Servers for humanity.
And like the cool thing about it is, I believe the energy that the heat that your body creates actually powers it. So I mean, which is just, come on, dude.
We are insanely
hitting a 3
able to do so many other things.
Stealing it and then hitting another 3 as the buzzer goes off and winning by 6. Like that was just me. Like, you know, like it's like piling on. Yeah, you thought I was smart. Check this out. You're gonna power it, and that's one of the things. And with that situation, I think a lot of people initially freak out. I used to be one of those people that would initially freak out because you're like, oh my God, I got stuff going in my head and it's coming out and blah, blah, blah.
I was too.
But people, obviously, you know, once you start to get an understanding of what it is and what it can do, when it comes to diseases, when it comes to like heart disease, your body can start creating it's natural healing. It's something that can actually program your body to create more of something that will heal yourself.
Yep.
So when you look at it as a medical aspect, when you look at it as like with autism and with like things like that, and that's why he said where he hoped he could cure autism. Well, that's because he knows he can release more chemicals into your brain to level that out. Maybe heighten one aspect up to the aspect of the heightened aspect of the frequency. Not saying take anything away, maybe heighten everything up to that same level. And that is something that works. Things like that. And so that's why when you look forward and you look at blockchain, that's good. Your entire, like you said, it's a perfect skeleton. So what do you have? Like,
so
medically
I want to put a caveat. I want to put a caveat in here because that fear mechanism is still very much triggered on a lot of people and will remain for a while because it's attachment to old patterns. And that's why I said, start educating yourself, start sitting in this. We're going to keep talking about Aquarian. I'm going to keep obviously channeling information because Plant Spirit has been not only amplifying and connecting us behind the scenes like she did with you and I, unbeknownst to us. And she's been doing that. And she's been showing me that vision about how deep and far her roots go because she's tapped into the eternal ethereal of everything. So she knows who to connect and when to connect them when they connect to her bridge. Okay. But the fear within this and the old patterns of fear and the dominance and control within Pisces is not fully going to be relinquished for a while, for another couple generations. So people hearing this now or coming back to it later or seeing these synchronicities that we're talking about and going, fuck, John and Beautiful talked about this shit months ago. I got to get caught up on this, right? Because it's happening really quickly, rapid pace. Because it will. This amplification after December is going to shift significant parts of society and structures that are going to freak people the fuck out. And that fear mechanism that we've been in for a couple thousand years is going to get triggered. This is the caveat. And this is what Plant Spirit has always shown me, always connected me to. This is how I receive her ethereally and work through her bridge to expand even more. I understand and know the sovereignty of my divine soul. I know who I am. I know what I am capable of, even if I can't quantify it and communicate it and or, express it or even understand it fully. I know the divine sovereignty of my soul. When you understand that, you move past mortality, you move past a lifetime, you move past the distractors of fear that are still trying to keep their hold within this Piscean, establishment over the people energy. And you start being able to open up to receive that you can integrate because this is a patterning and intention. that is going to filtrate throughout everything in society and individuals eventually. This is the design on this plane. And it has been being ushered in, and it is being given to people like me that can open up to receive it randomly after she's been giving me breadcrumbs of it for years.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's all here. It's all eventual. It might be in this lifetime. It might be in another lifetime. But your ability to open up to plant spirit, her voice, the connection, your ethereal abilities, and your own healing mechanisms, this technology is not doing anything that our bodies and minds cannot already do, and that I have not already done myself and written fucking books about.
Right.
We all have these abilities and more. I just know it because I've been experiencing it and practicing it daily to open up, and been being connected to things like plant spirit to amplify its awareness even more within me for years. But every single soul has all of these abilities and more. Tech is just, we've got to still
The
watch
window.
it. It's a window, it's the patterning, it's the design of what is going to eventually be able to help each individual become this self-governing, self-regulating, and in sustainable space with everything plane that Aquarius really is. So divine sovereignty of soul is incredibly important to ask plant spirit to help you connect to ground in, to be able to see and feel past the fear patterns of things. If any of this is triggering you, ask her to show you and help you to know this of yourself, because once you know it, this other stuff is not going to affect you the way that it has in the past. And we've been living in these cycles, and our DNA has been being handed down for thousands of years within these cycles of control and manipulation over us through energetic patterns of things like fear.
True.
So once you pass through them, you're just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah. And that's where
they might affect you logistically.
Yeah.
They might affect you, but still.
They affect me. Like when I see that stuff, that makes me angry. Because then I just go, now I understand who that is or what that is right there. That's someone trying to put up a wall to stop. It doesn't make me angry where I'm just like, I'm going to just go like kill them all and stuff. But like, it annoys me. And I think that's one of my biggest annoyances in life, where just keep the positivity up.
Because you just want the progression.
Like, come on, you're so close.
You want to be there already because you already know it and you're already connected to it. Yeah.
Like,
but it's part of the journey.
Not trust me, but like, you know what I mean? Like, as soon as you start to open up and as soon as you start to, look, man, they're not just voices. Like, and that's the whole thing. Like, they're not just voices in your head. And that's one of the things that has actually helped me the most in life, is understanding. I go, look, my belief and structure has for quite some time has been energy. When people go, Jesus is, someone found Jesus, I'm like, did they look in the mirror? And that's because, it's just like, to me, that's the obvious thing. Like, hey, God is in everything, is everywhere. That makes you part God. Like, so what you need to understand is like, look, my whole thought process is like, don't pray to him, work with him, like them. Help, be them. You are them. That is you.
Yeah.
Help.
That's divine sovereignty.
Like, you know what I mean? Like sitting there praying to that person that's going, yo, just fucking help.
Yeah, but
it
just is the way that it's been, because that has been the Piscean pattern that we've had to live through. Not only has it been the overlying pattern within the collective consciousness for a couple thousand years, but it's also been structured within our laws, within our individual societies, within our religions, within our patterning of our DNA and our karma. That's how deep these energies are a part of the design of our physical nature and our manifestation from lifetime to lifetime. So it's just part of the process. And when I see these people like one of the things that we talked about last week, when we've kind of started these, I don't even know what you want to call them, business oracle shows, or whatever, plant spirit connection.
Hey,
When we like officially started this last week, I had just shifted out of a major Mars retrograde of being physically assaulted in my condo unit. Like, I am affected. We are all affected by energies. Those are the lessons. I can see those people and know that they are just on the level that they're on, and it's not the same level and path that I'm on.
true.
There are those emotional triggers. There are, but also keeping ego in check, because you're talking about the voices are real. Yes, the voices are real, but what voice is it? Because
Yes.
the reality of ego voice is very real as well. And there is an acknowledgement and a mitigation of that voice too. So last week we talked about when you hear the voices of plant spirit or guides or totem animals or tree people, whatever it is, or psychedelics, of ancestors, or whatever it is that people have come to them in vision and dream and some kind of clarity. Those really have an extrasensory aspect to them. They're going to have an ethereal aspect to them more than likely. They're going to come to you synchronicitously through other people and situations that you would have never not normally seen or been a part of. You will feel spine tingles. You will feel your gut intuition. You will feel an ethereal just knowing throughout your entire body. That is not ego-based communication from just internally. That is a connection to another source of wisdom. So, there are some kind of foundational, knowledges to sit with here and to constantly be able to manage against, or not manage against, but just manage and balance out. Because ego voice is there and it is valid, but there's so many more other voices that are also, and especially growers, when you are with the live plant, man, she is actively trying to get your attention. And I know growers know this. I have been validating this with thousands of growers across the country for years now.
Yeah, if you are a grower, then you understand those, and that's what I think. That's where I was like, the voices are real. That's kind of where I was actually. That's where my brain was with the plants. I'm like, yeah, those voices are. I'm not saying that plant spirit comes in and is like, yo, you need to add this, you need to add this, you need to do this. No, plant spirit, like Jesus is like, yo, dude, thanks. And hey, keep up the good work. Looks good. Like she's a very, funny, tricky thing. You know what I mean? Like a jokester. So
she is.
It's one of those things to where it's like, I'm not saying that I talk to her and she tells me what to do. She'll show me something, and
she'll send the people to you. She'll give
correct.
you the algorithms through the technology veils that have something come up on your feed as an ad,
correct,
or a comment from a person or something.
She'll make me see something, and then all of a sudden I'll get bang, bang, bang. Like all of a sudden, like,
and that's
like,
when you know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought it was. Or, hey, like, and then I'll just kind of laugh, like, And I was talking to Dr. Fire the other day.
I love Dr. Fire.
And we were kind of, heated, not heated.
Appropriate.
It was, we had gotten it. Like, look, dude, sometimes people get in an argument, I didn't appreciate the way he was treating me. And, I don't think he realized it when he looked back and he was like, yeah, you know what, you're right. So, it was one of those things was like, look, I'm not mad at you. And it's like trying to like sit there and, come out of it. And we were talking, I was like, listen, you little son of a bitch, we're fucking stuck together. You and I both know it because she fucking showed you, and don't act like she didn't. Yeah. And he just started dying laughing. And I was just, and then we kind of I was just like, and that's kind of where it came from, to where just like, yeah, You know, look, we're all connected. You know, we're all part of the
Absolutely.
planet spirit. You know, and that's one of the things. You know, he gets fanboyed, which I find fucking hilarious. I do,
Well,
because he's the
Aquarius.
last person that wants to deal with that shit. So I never fanboy him. And so I kind of like when he starts getting on that like big thing, I was like, oh, look at your fanboys. So, you know, I'd be like, oh, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. And then,
Well,
you know,
that's over now. The whole fanboy thing is over, anyways. That's one of the cycles astrologically that is completing because Aquarius is the individual responsibility towards the collective and self. That is also divine sovereignty, understanding that you are not only responsible in and of yourself. There are no idle heads. There is no other person, me, anybody channeling your instinct and your guidance better than you. This is the true altruistic higher frequency of Aquarius. So all of these brand influencers, which was a major design that I was a part of, and anybody that Googles me would find out about a decade ago. All of these designs that have existed before that I could see and then start to manipulate and enter into and or utilize, they're all changing. And so I've been trained to see these patterns and designs in this lifetime. It's just the way that my mind works. And and this is absolutely a core truth of a major, major design that is, like I said, the spine of everything moving forward. And it is about to go hyper speed and it is going to freak people out.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Well, I mean,
but there is no fear in it.
Yeah, I don't have fear, but just move forward, move with it, move ahead of it if you can. Understand it's coming. And don't freak out when it comes.
Create community. This is all about creating community or getting to be a part of community that is aligned with your vibration, your current vibration and frequency and knowing, being open to receive the voices, the people. But nobody in Aquarius, nobody holds higher position over your sovereignty. You do. It's just that we all have individual responsibility to ourselves and to each other too. So it's a completely different design, and it is the actual intention and mold of blockchain.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
I know.
I'm just saying that's
dude,
awesome.
this is huge.
Because I understand it.
Huge.
I just understand it. So it's just one of those things that I get because I've been,
There's so much opportunity in it. It literally is a skeleton structure of tech to integrate into everything. Absolutely everything. It puts the end user in front of the developer and the product immediately. There are no middlemen. When I say that this rollout of blockchain will start being very evident very quickly, you will see hundreds of thousands or millions of truck drivers lose their jobs because of AI trucking that all of a sudden just hits the freeways. You will see millions of hairstylists that will be out of work because the technology to be able to put a device on your head to cut your hair is there already. And it is blockchained out throughout, the country or your region or whatever. You will see the government and what is happening right now with the financial structures start to not be able to keep up and having to overproduce and undervalue what they actually have created and held control over because it can't keep up with blockchain in a financial capacity. That's already happening. That's already a precursor.
If you look at the market itself, you look at the market in the last, since March, April, after that drop, the one thing that flew back was tech.
Yeah.
People made millions in tech. I have not done that bad at all in tech. And just because, look, man, people are done with the whole, we're going back to oil because we've seen wars, we've seen everything over that shit. I think people are just done with that. When you look at,
it's still going to filter through for a while though. Those powers
will just
are still going to
demand and shit like that. And that's the one thing people need to realize, that it's not, hey, tomorrow go out and buy an electric car. No, you can't even do it.
It will be that quick. It will be that quick, and it will shock people, but then we'll start getting used to these really serious innovations coming out regularly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I look at it now, whereas I go, man, I feel really stupid. I know for an absolute fact the next car that I buy will be an electric car. You know, whether it be a Tesla or, you know, a NIO, or if they do get over here, any kind of, you know, anything, you know. But I love Tesla. I love the whole fucking Tesla roof. This is beautiful.
Yeah, he's super alien aligned.
He is definitely a net positive.
That is
I'm just going to go ahead and say
his. That is absolutely. I haven't gotten any insight. I don't need to, because I can just see and feel the alien energy through him. That is his guidance. He has this future wisdom understanding. That's why he's been able to do it. I mean, Tesla planted the seed, and he was channeling the awareness of frequency and energy, as many people in the past have done. It's just that when the right incarnation realigns, and then they get amplified through things like plant spirit or alien guidance, then you see shit just get tore up in the world. You know what I mean? Because it's ready for the redesign. That person's incarnation was ready to be manifested to change everything on its fucking head. So
flip that shit. And I mean, you
that's
know,
just what happens.
You want to talk about a tough run too. People look at Elon Musk right now, okay, and they're like, "Oh, dude, he's, you know, it is what it is." You know, he got told every single day for literally up until like March or January. No, you suck. You're gonna fail. Since like 2006. All right, literally there was like 3 or 4 people that were like, no, this is good. Like when you look at the way industry treated him, his tech was so disruptive. There was no way they could have sided with him, because they'd be done by now.
I know, but that's the Gandhi quote. That's a pattern that has been known now for a while. First, they'll make fun of you, then they'll try to destroy you, and then they join you.
Yeah.
That's the total death and rebirth cycle design within, I mean, everything, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it's been
not
nuts.
Even the power players, you know, that have control. Like I said, Plant Spirit even showed me to the nth degree where this blockchain is really, this is how powerful this intention in this design actually is. Not only because it was unveiled during the unveiling on our plane of October 31st, which people already know and have been celebrating and understanding since the fucking Druids and before then. That's why we have that goddamn holiday in the first place, right? It's the opening of the veils in this world to all of the outside, you know, guides and resources and wisdoms and, you know, clearings and everything. So come on, they issue their white paper at the ending of a particular Jupiter cycle in Capricorn and the beginning of it going into Aquarius. I mean, and now it's happening again. You know, this is not, people know this, but you know, you put something out there, you are your truth, you are this pure direct source. People are afraid especially because we've been in this Pisces energy for thousands of years. You know, the first thing that we succumb to, or one of the first things that we can succumb to, is fear, because they've patterned it into us and it's been a part of the planetary system, you know, emerging and evolution for thousands of years now. So it's very deeply ingrained, but it's shifting. And it is going to shift so rapid and so crazily. I mean, I've already pulled and sat with Plant Spirit because I'm the Cannabis Medium on Skunk Magazine. And so I do a monthly tarot for them, Cannabis Tarot for them. And I do random articles that I connect with people for guidance. But for their print edition, I do a 3 to 6 month cycle for them of both astrology and channeled wisdom and the Cannabis Flower of Life Tarot. And I've already done next year for the first 6 months. And February is a massive shift on this plane. a massive change coming in for billions of people in different forms. And it's not bad, good. I mean, it just is where it is and what you've chosen to do and be at that point in your life, right? The path that you've chosen this year. And this year was a big one about choosing your path and ridding old cycles and things that didn't, serve you, so that you can move on into these new energies individually and collectively. But next
they gave
February,
you the
huge
perfect
shift.
opportunity to chill and realize this also.
Yeah,
And
I had
I think
perspective.
that's where you had that perspective during that time. That is something that was cosmically touched, I believe, somehow. I was never nervous of that. And I was just like, wow, there are going to be so many people that their lives will be changed forever. You know what I mean? And like going into this, that was the one thing I was like, look, I remember sitting there talking with B Cloud. She's not here. I don't know if that's her chair, but it's just empty. So I pointed at it. But I was talking with her and she was, nervous. A lot of people were, rightfully so. And my nerves were, I hope people understand coming out of this, what they can and what they can do, and where we're going, because, to me personally, it was a big, hey, wake up. It's happening.
Yep.
And
It has been happening for a while.
Yeah.
So I did do a little bit of just sitting with our industry, in particular cannabis and hemp, and blockchain within it. And, it has definitely been, emerging. It's still relatively small, but just within this industry alone, there are so many other opportunities from that has already been designed as, an extension from the spine of the blockchain design in general. But when you have something like this that's furthest reaching in every corner of people's individual and social lives like this, the opportunities within it are infinite, but you have to see and understand and know the value of the core design behind it. So we can talk about this much more. I know that I'm going to have so much more wisdom that comes through from spirit to share about this, but I did want to specifically at least address that the cannabis industry in general does have blockchain design already been applied to it and started within it. And I think it's important to start, looking at these things, especially within this industry. And me as a business oracle, really, sitting with plant spirit and saying, is this, the iteration right now, does it have a future? Does it have, because you're talking about, and I'm not afraid to sit there and say what it is that I'm being shown as a future projection. I mean, that is my part of my design as an oracle and who my placement is in this lifetime. There are plenty of guides and channels that give predictions about things. But I do think that there's a lot more depth within many aspects of this to understand within the business and the grow culture. And I really want to be able to constantly engage this conversation and have people ask us questions and allow me to be able to sit with and the information will come in different times and stuff, just to give as a precursor to everybody, but to really understand on their microcosm level where this macrocosm is and what plant spirit really is trying to have me communicate, either specifically to particular aspects within our industry in this plant and or to these bridges, that are literally in everything around this design. Like you said, from education to entire communities of careers and livelihoods and all of these structures that are going to, at some point, very rapidly, in spurts, change and be redesigned and rebirthed. So, but there is some really interesting, blockchain designs already being integrated into cannabis space. So there's definitely so much more to be able to address here, but you know, I know that this is a really big fucking bite of the apple to take off right now.
Yeah.
It's the core. We basically just ate the entire core
And then left everything there. And then just left the rest of it around, and we just went right to the middle.
Yeah,
And
we
that's
went straight to
actually
the spine.
we did, which is absolutely fine. It's awesome, because now, you know, I like you said, you have people who would like to ask questions, and that's where I understand it because I've studied blockchain, and I understand, and I don't know if a lot of people have. So what I was going to actually say is, look, we're going to leave this. This is going to stay up on the channel. In the comments below with any questions whatsoever, questions of any sort, please feel free to put them in the comments below. Absolutely. Whether we get to it in the comments or whether it's next week. And this week I will put together something that is, you know, kind of like a blockchain for dummies. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, obviously sometimes if you can't channel it, if the answer doesn't come in, it's not like, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Sorry, it didn't come yet. But it's like, hey, you know,
time is not of a human design when it comes to information being received. That's for sure. If you're not ready for it, it's not ready to come through me. That's basically what happened.
Yeah. Well, and that's an understanding that people, I think, need to understand and understand the answers. You know, the answers may not come the way you expect them. You know, so when you get those answers, if you foresee that as bad news, you know, kind of shift yourself. You know, to understand
where your frequency is.
You know, how can we make it work? If that's the message coming through, okay, look, if that's predetermined, then that's predetermined. It may be this shift of stupidity or something that I'm trying to fix it before I know it's actually broken. Or maybe you look back at it and say, okay, we might get held back a little bit. Let's figure out what, you know, let's break this shit down and then, you know, go from there. So, you know, having the understanding of going, just because you go, hey, that might not work out, that just may not work out right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I think patience in remembering that, hey, inspiration's really, really easy. But perspiration is what makes that inspiration reality. And that's hard. You know,
well, and that's what community is for. That's what communing with plant spirit is for. That's what reaching out to and asking the questions, leaving the comments, watching the shows, listening in. You know, neither one of us have better guidance for any other soul on this plane than them own selves. But community is incredibly powerful to learn perspective from. And that perspective shift in 1 millisecond will open up your frequency to receive the next steps, the next partnerships, the next collaborations, the next awarenesses to come in. So community is incredibly important. It is a core design within our DNA. It is a structure of compartmentalization, to wrap it back all up into what you said at the beginning, breaking things down. That is a core psychological structure of our fight or flight response within our brainstem. That's how old that design is. So, and we learn through each other. So it's not a matter of somebody else having more information, more channeling, more guidance, more anything than you, but it is the ability to tap into what you might not have already opened back up into yet, that you have the ability and the perspective to see through them to be able to receive it for yourself and know it for yourself.
That's where I was going with it. That inspiration is very easy. Perspiration is hard. And making that reality, you don't have to do it alone. Because that's why we're all here. There's no such thing as a bad idea. You know, only bad actions
around it. Well, you'll learn from those actions too. Believe me, you'll learn.
Look, an idea is an idea. It's, you know, the fruition of that idea. That if it is a bad idea, that you're going to have that bad action. But at the end of the day, like I said before, if you have questions, some people may not know what blockchain is, and that's a huge thing actually moving forward in all aspects of life. So I'll do a video on that, just kind of, not blockchain for dummies, but, kind of break it down for the ease of understanding, and maybe give some references, like how it can affect in certain things. So I'll do that. And I really want some questions from you guys. I mean, it would be great if we can keep this going, get this going, all throughout. We want to do it Saturdays at 4:20. Obviously, that's what time we did this today. I started early. I got like antsy. I was like,
We were antsy. I'm so antsy to see this change, this energy shift. I can already feel it.
Right.
It's already coming through. I know now and have been being shown the vision and communicating exactly how rapid this is all going to start. The dominoes are all going to start falling once the planetary energies align to amplify it. The players have been putting and positioning themselves. Position yourself now. You have time. We all have time. For God's sake, it's going to take a couple hundred years to get fully into Aquarius. But, sit with what we present, and ask the questions and, open up to receiving what it is that is ready for you, especially plant spirit. She'll totally help you and guide you if you start opening up to that.
Totally will.
That's what she's here for. Yeah.
I mean, that's the first, whenever I meditate, that's the first thing I tap into because it's the strongest.
I know.
You know what I mean?
She's super strong. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, can you give me a hand? She's like, sure.
Exactly.
Just
you might not like the answer.
Exactly.
But it is the lesson of what it is that you have to do to be able to step through and overcome to get to the other piece that you'll have perspective on eventually, and you'll be like, oh, well, that's why that happened. Oh, well, that's why that happened.
Exactly.
The unfolding, it's the journey. Like we were talking about earlier, the emptiness of the destination and reaching the destination that you already feel and know is true within your soul. But it's the journey that we get to enjoy. That's why we incarnate here. We get to experience the joys of this plane and each other and the juiciness of everything that, is here that our eternal souls do not experience outside of this plane. We are in a completely different form. We do not have the tangible qualities of, the absolute understanding and knowing of emotions, both suffering and ecstasy. That is all for us here. And that's what makes it so wonderful.
Right? They are. I mean, it is great. It's, the answer to the question, who are the makers? You are.
Yeah. Well, I think that I'm almost done. My earbuds just died.
Okay, that's what that was. I was like,
that was the end of that. So yes, ask questions and stuff. And whatever it is that comes through with plant spirit and just talking to you and now being able to know and see and communicate this really large overarching design, coming into this and riding the waves of the growth that is going to be seen and felt. And we're in the lead up to it. So. Yeah.
Well, and that, for me, I'm like, I'm just, ready for everything. I'm just ready, you know what I mean? I'm ready to, get moving because I know where we're going and I know what we need, where we need to go and what we need to do. And man,
there's a lot.
Come on, guys, it's gonna be fun.
There's a lot of steps and there's a lot of planetary shifts and energies that are still going to keep coming up. So, like I said last week,
it's not next week.
Give yourself grace and patience because this is a process of unfolding and it's incredibly intense right now and it's going to continually get more and more intense. The passing of RBG yesterday is a massive trigger point within the intensity of this energy that is accumulating throughout October. So there are more and more things that are going to continually be known and shown. And so just know that even tapping into this community and what we're doing here and what we're trying to help others understand and expand on, that you have place in this you have placement, you have community, you have the ability, to tap into all of these things that you have within yourself in the sovereignty of your soul. But there is this grace for yourself that you really, really do need to hold intention for, because it is a savior for the amount of suffering and for the intensity of energy that happens on this plane. It will balance. It will balance within you all of the energies that are surrounding and swirling. So,
Absolutely.
Love you, Cannabis family.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful existence, guys. Make sure you're checking them out. Like she said, she does Skunk Magazine. It's www.skunkmagazine.com. She has done astrology for them. Make sure you go check them out there. Make sure you check out her channel. I believe I have it linked somewhere. If not, I will link it on there. And like I said,
give me snippets. Give me some snippets if you can of this.
We're gonna break this
down. Push those out. My YouTube channel is just really starting. I wasn't even engaged on that platform until I got into Skunk Magazine. So I keep it relatively quiet and clean. But I want to make sure this information is really important. It's incredibly important for people, especially, the regular Joes and Schmoes in the world like me, to be able to understand and know the information that all of the people in the establishment in power have been able to know and start already leveraging and designing themselves towards, because this is the unity and the balancing of all of humanity. That includes you too. So this information is incredibly important for you to be able to bring into your life and your being, so that you raise up with everything too. You're not left behind, because this is an evolutionary pattern, and there's going to be some people that, just can't, and possibly a lot of people that just cannot get rid of the old, powers and positions and patterns that they were in. And it's going to be devastating to them and their loved ones. So this is very, very relevant, very core information to move forward with for all of humanity.
Yeah. I mean, I have some timestamps written down.
Yay!
So I'm going to go through and, kind of break it up and drop some things like that as they were coming in. So absolutely we could do that. And like I said, what I did was I shared that video in my Google Drive. So all you have to do is go in there and you can grab that video, and I'll load all the videos into that Google Drive. That way you'll have full video. Like that way, that's where I'll keep all the originals, the OGs of them. So, but absolutely, guys, you are also.
I'm super grateful to be united again with you, my brother.
I truly appreciate it.
Soul brother.
We're gonna go grow some weed. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. A lot of it. Smoke a lot of it too. All right, cheers. Thank you so much, beautiful existence. Much love. And guys, remember, she wasn't just talking to me. She was talking to you. She was talking to everyone. Everyone. So it's not like she was like, hey, you need to do this, where she was going, you need to do that, where you're looking at. She's talking to me. She's talking to everyone. She's talking to for future people watching this video, if they do watch 1 hour and 44 minutes. And like they understand that, that was for them. That's for the people that need to hear that. So that's just one of the, things that we can do, we can put that information out there, and we can, understand that, look, she's not just talking to me. She's talking to every single one of you, every single person that's ever going to hear that. Everyone. From here to wherever they hear whatever they needed to hear in that message. So cheers, guys. We're going to try to do that on every Saturday at 4:20. I'll probably start it off at 4 o'clock unless I get antsy again and start at what I don't know if I did. What did I started like 3 minutes. So whatever. It is what it is. But cheers, guys. Thank you guys so much. Stealth Grower in the house. Much love. Absolutely. No problem. We will definitely break it up because it's very long. Lizard King, no bad ideas, maybe a dumbass idea or a stupid idea. Yeah, but if it's a bad idea, okay, you don't understand it's a bad idea, you do it, you learned. Hey, that's a bad idea. Don't do that. You know what I mean? So every single bad idea that you have, hey, you know what? You get something out of it. You learn from it, and that's one of the biggest things. We are the dawning of the age of Aquarius. We're like fucking tipping our toe in it. When it comes to blockchain and everything like that, we'll also do some more videos to help break all that stuff down. But I truly appreciate everyone in here. Lizard King, thank you so much. Gromies, homies, Corn Space, hell yeah. Chef Life, cheers. Gemma's Journey's Grace is awesome as always. Goliath Grow Show, Michigan Jamook. Henny 420, Kalakis and Barefoot, much love to the power couple on the West Coast. Partly Cloudy was up in here for a little bit. Thank you so much. James Garcia, Looney Productions, the man, the myth, the legend. Fucking love Looney. What a great grower. Dr. Weedman, much love. Thank you so much. And Apex Stoner Failure, Nebs. And anyone else that's in there didn't comment and just hung out, man. Cheers. Much love to all you guys. Have an amazing rest of your Saturday. And, you know, keep your head straight and cheers going forward. Much love. I love you, Lizard King. Okay, I'm just going to throw this out there because I did see that comment. So then I try to learn from others' mistakes. Yes. But if you wait for everyone else to make all the mistakes, okay, then you're just sitting there doing nothing until someone solves it. If you are not afraid to make mistakes, you will go very far in life. You know, there's not a single mistake that I've ever made that I can't overcome. And that I find is true in everything. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Break some fucking eggs. All right. Cheers.